Well, what's going on, gang? Welcome back to Therapeutic Edge. It's very nice to have you here today. I've got something on the table today that isn't new necessarily. They recently dropped this particular edition of it, but it's been around a while. This is the Spy Nano, and this is a collaboration between Spyderco and LionSteel. They make a version of this just called the Nano. It's got a much more traditional blade without the Spidey hole. I like the Spidey hole on this knife. It is micarta and titanium. The blade is M398. And, well, let's put it this way. You guys know that I don't generally like small knives. I am a big knife guy, right? I like stuff, you know, like the Rainmaker from Olamic. I like the Kinseris from Wee. I like the SMF from Strider. As you can see, you know, and even my smaller knives, you know, the SNG, right? Or what else do I have on the table? Oh, the one that I've had longer than that, the Spy Nano. Small knives and I don't generally get along. But every once in a while, something comes along that pushes against that initial dislike that I have for smaller knives. Oh, excuse me. And the Spy Nano here was one of them. Now, I know that because I got this one for my wife a few months ago. And I have had opportunity to carry it a few times. We have very distinct and individual knife collections. We do share, but her stuff is hers, right? But I have had opportunity to carry this a number of times, and it is just really good. So, when I found one on Blade Binge, I went ahead and grabbed it. As a small knife, and it is, I mean, we're talking about what? We're 6 1/4 inches overall, right? Because of the way they shaped the handle, it's got this nice thumb stop right here because of the Spidey hole. This thing is just really comfortable, really good to use, and I just dig it, man. Now, I don't like green, so I'm probably going to dye that out black, but beyond that, it's just superb. Now, I did have the Spy Nano on the table a minute ago. What did I do with that? There it is. The Spy Nano is also LionSteel, as you can tell, right? They're very similar. It's a little narrower. I very much wish that this knife, the bigger one, had these dimensions, because that just locks into your hand in a really nice way. I like how tall the blade is on the Spy Nano. Tip to tail, this is a fantastic pocket knife. Now, one of the things that LionSteel does, and Spyderco brings it forward on their collabs, is you see that? You can remove the flipper. Now, I did do that on my Spy Nano, right? Because it opens, unless you're on camera, it opens like that, and I just prefer that, right? It makes it a little cleaner in the pocket. Also, this is an aftermarket scale from a guy on Etsy. I'll put that in the description. He does good work. And when I got my Spy Nano, I thought, yeah, well, let's remove the flipper. But because of, I mean, I can flick this. But because of how small this knife is, this is just a really, the flipper really serves here. It's less necessary here because of how much more knife you have in your hand. But because they are thoughtful enough to make them removable if you so choose, it's a choice you can make. I love how the blade is crowned. It's got a free-floating backspacer, right? Nice pocket clip, which is reversible for the lefties out there in the world. It's got some milling on the titanium, make it good and grippy. And again, it has a really nice, tall blade. Mine has a little bit of a smile down here at the base of the plunge, which is a little bit annoying. I wonder if women carry knives. Yeah, women carry knives is, look how dirty that is. She uses this thing all the time. A little bit too, but mine's actually a little more noticeable. One of the problems with mass-produced blades, I guess. We do not often buy knives twice. When we do, it's because something about that knife really stands out. the Spy Nano is a surprise to me, and I thought that was cool. So let's take a look at what you get. We'll do sort of a basic review now that I've rambled about it for a while. Again, on the Spy Nano, you get 2.5 inches of cutting on just a little over 2.5 inches of that M398 steel. The grip area on this knife is, when I hold it, I come so that my finger and this are kind of together, right? The grip area, so we'll start there, is a little shy of 3 inches. So it's 3 fingers. My pinky is out here. But because of the way this is shaped, and if you come back to put your finger into this choil back here, right, it just locks in. And I mean, it is really in there. One of the reasons I don't generally like smaller knives, or even really thin, light knives, is because I feel like I'm going to lose the thing. This design does not do that. Tip to tail, the Spy Nano comes in at, like I said, about 6 1/4. Closed length. What is that? 3, a little over 3.5. It is fairly chunky. So in the pocket, it is taking up, because of this loop, you're talking about 1.5 inches, which is a fairly decent sized knife in the pocket. But as I said, it has a really lovely deep carry clip that is reversible. Screws onto the back here, which is a nice touch. This is a great knife. Let's do some size comparisons, shall we? You can see how small it really is. Here it is against the bug out. Right. Bug out is considerably larger. Here it is against the pyrite. As you can see, the pyrite is considerably larger. There's a video, you may have seen it already. This has long been my favorite budget-friendly knife going. I love this, so I got this. This is the pyrite in S90V and titanium. That's really nice. If you haven't watched the video, go back a few days. It'll probably be on my channel somewhere. It's worth it. Anyway, this is a great knife. Here it is against a Strider SMF. It essentially fits, well, it doesn't quite, but you could almost fit in the handle. One of the more common smaller knives that get a lot of traction in the world is the Spyderco Para 3. As you can see, the Spy Nano is considerably smaller. However, you don't have that much less blade. Right? This is a little over 2.5. This is right at 2.5. And you get a lot more belly. Stuff like this makes me smile. It might make you smile too. I don't remember how much these things were. About $236 when they dropped, which is a fair amount of money, but it's in really good materials. Now, apparently, the LionSteel Nano has exactly the same handle configuration, which means, while I haven't found a single aftermarket scale for the Spy Nano, for a while, people were making them for the LionSteel Nano, and they will fit. I just haven't found one yet. So if you decide you like this knife, but you don't love green, because green, ugh. Anyway, there might be options out there. Keep your eyes open. So, and in fact, it's kind of a bummer. I actually asked the guy that made the scale for my Spy Mito if he had made these, and he hadn't because he doesn't have one. Maybe I can send him one. Anyway, it's reasonably light. Let's take a look. .1 ounces by way of comparison. A Para 3, 3.5 ounces. These are very similar in overall weight. I like everything about this better than this knife. Don't get me wrong. This is a great little knife, but I just like this better. Maybe it's because this is actually small. So I carry full-size knives 95% of the time, but when I want something that is smaller, a little less conspicuous, I kind of mean it. And so while the Para 3 is good for a lot of people who have smaller hands, it's not really a compact knife. The Spy Nano is. It is a compact and easy carry. Let's get these out. Take a look at what they give you. All right. You get almost 4 millimeters of that M398. At its thickest point through the handle, we're talking about 12.5 millimeters, which is just at a ½ inch. By way of comparison, I think this is similar. Yeah, this is actually a little narrower, but not much. And this just sits in the pocket better than this. I don't know how else to explain it. You've got a titanium lock side with a full, like you see, it's a frame lock, right? It has a steel lock bar insert, of course, so you're not steel on titanium. It does have an overtravel stop. Can you see that? There it is, built in to the steel lock bar insert, which is a nice touch. It's just a nice knife. Anyway, this is the Spyderco and LionSteel SpyNano. One of the few small knives that I absolutely love. I'll put a link in the description to where I got mine. You can, I don't know, maybe they'll drop more. They do that at Spyderco sometimes. Also, if you don't love the Spidey hole, remember you can find this in the LionSteel version, which is called the Nano, not the Spy Nano. If you're interested, feel free to poke around. I hope you've enjoyed this look at a very cool little knife. I know I have enjoyed owning it and will continue to do so. Thank you so much for your time today. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.